Good morning, everyone. Today, we'll be playing a Monowhite Death and Taxes list. Recently 4-1'd in a modern league. I played a couple of test games with this, and I can tell you right now, I'm not very good with it. And I think the key is going to be keeping hands that have good disruption for what our opponent is doing. But I'm no expert with this, but let's see how we do. Alright. See you guys in round one. Alrighty. Round one, here we go. We get to be on the play. We got a 1, a 2, a 3, and Skyclave Cleric versus Burn. I think we'll keep. No Ghost Quarter Arbiter or anything like that, but we do start with a Giver of Runes, which is good. My apologies if you can hear my dog chomping on his bone. I can see it getting picked up slightly on the audio. I don't know if it'll be in the final cut or not. Alright. Start Plains Giver. Pass the turn. But it starts Steam Vents untapped. We draw another Giver. Play Sunbaked Canyon. And play Thalia. My opponent has a bolt, they gotta use it now. They do. Thalia resolves. So Skyclave Cleric is kind of cute in that we can play it as a land and then flicker it with Flicker Wisp. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent takes it, goes to 16. You know what? I'm gonna do that. And if not, we'll have lands to sack like Sunbaked Canyon and things like that. Okay, I'm gonna crack Scalding Tarn. This is probably for an opt or a bolt. Nope, they get a tap land. Okay. They untap. They play an island. We untap. We draw plains. So go to combat. Attack for 2. When it goes to 13. Play a plains. Flicker Wisp. Okay, opponent remands, so that's fine. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an island. Passes. We untap. We draw Sword of Feast and Famine. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent takes 2, goes to 11. Play a plains. Same plan as before. Cast a Flicker Wisp. Okay. Flicker, Skyclave, Basilica. This is taking us off of Sword of Feast and Famine play and equip next turn, but okay. Is this a Tails End? Are they Tails Ending this trigger? Okay. 4 mana, gain control of target non-land permanent. They're going to be able to take Giver of Runes, because Giver of Runes can't protect itself like Mom can. Okay. Sure. Get a Skyclave Cleric and gain 2 life. Pass the turn. Opponent passes. We untap. We draw Giver of Runes. Play Sunbaked Canyon. Go to combat. Attack with Thalia and Flicker Wisp. Okay, opponent is going to Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Bolt, probably taking down Flicker Wisp, and then they're going to double block. Actually, they can just block Thalia with Snapcaster. Okay. They're going to give Snapcaster protection from white. They bolt Flicker Wisp, sure. Play Sword. I think we equip it here. It's kind of a subpar creature to equip to, especially with an active Giver of Runes on my opponent's side of the board. Okay, no attacks for our opponent. We draw Linvala. Go to combat. Let's attack for 3. If my opponent has another bolt, I'd rather they do this now. Okay. Play Giver. Okay, that didn't draw a counterspell. I thought it would've. We'll play Linvala, which will stop our own Giver of Runes that our opponent controls, if it resolves. Of course, my opponent is apparently setting up for Mystic Sanctuary on Lightning Bolt, probably into a Cryptic counter draw. Okay, Archmage's Charm, or Remand. They're going to Remand Linvala, and then they can Lightning Bolt our Cleric wielding a sword. Or Giver, either one. Okay. A Lightning Bolt Giver. Glimpse of Freedom. Okay. That is the first time I've ever seen that cast in a modern game. We draw Thalia. Play Linvala. Opponent does another Archmage's Charm. No attacks. Pass the turn. Opponent goes to combat, but no attacks. We untap. We draw Path. I don't want to play Thalia. Well, I guess my opponent would not be... Probably would not put Blast Zone up to 2. So we're just going to try and main phase Path here. Because putting Blast Zone on 2 would mean they would also kill their Snapcaster mages. They did not activate in response. That's interesting. Alright, well if that's the case, we'll go ahead and attack. Opponent chumps with a Snapcaster. We'll play Thalia. They Spell Snare Thalia. Okay. 4 mana, 5 mana. Flashback Glimpse of Freedom? Oh, 2 charge counters. They're going to destroy the sword. Okay. Opponent attacks for 2. That's fine. Take 2, go to 12. Sack Sunbaked Canyon, we get a Field of Ruin. Untap, we draw Path. Go to combat. Attack with Skyclave Cleric. Opponent cracks Blast Zone to kill sword. Takes 1. Sack Sunbaked Canyon, draw a card. Play Field. Play Vial. Pass the turn. Probably going to end up pathing the Snapcaster. Okay, now they're flashing back Glimpse of Freedom. I'm going to path Snapcaster now while my opponent can't counter. Okay, but it casts an Opt. Opts again. Plays an island. We untap. Aether Vial, ticking up. We draw Plains. Well, I guess we keep attacking. Hit our opponent for 1. Opponent goes down to 8. We're going to hold this land in hand and pass. They're going to Petty Theft our Aether Vial, sure. And then they're going to flash in Brazen Borrower. I have a very cold nose being pressed against my arm, asking me to throw a toy. Whew. It's like an ice cube. When it hits us for 3, we go down to 8. We untap. We draw a Leonin Arbiter. I mean, it's a little late for Arbiter. Go to combat. Yes, hello. You can't just grab it and run away with it when I reach for it. Attack our opponent for 1. Opponent goes to 7. Play Arbiter. Which is just a bear at this point. Opponent remands, that's fine. Play Arbiter. Opponent flashing back Glimpse of Freedom, I think. Yep. They draw a card. Okay, play Aether Vial. When it forces Aether Vial. Snapcaster for Lightning Bolt. Bolt's Arbiter. Oh, bolts are face, never mind. I just realized how low a life total we are. It appears we're just dead. Opponent hits us with a Burst Lightning. And we can block here, but that doesn't do anything. Alright. So, kind of want the Forge Tenders. And I kind of want Rest in Peace. Just a little bit. Because of all of the Snapcaster value. Even Mind Sensor could be good too, because our opponent is playing a lot of fetch lands. Porter, I'm not playing Tug, I'm playing Fetch. Goofy dog. Path is not as good, but I don't want to go down all of our paths. I'm probably not going to bring in 3 Forge Tenders. Drop a Skyclave Cleric. Maybe we go down to 1 path. Alright, we'll play first. Aether Vial, Arbiter, and tons of Ghost Quarter effects. Sure, we're on the play, so hopefully this is strong enough. Our opponent would have to have a Braid or Petty Theft, but if they do, we're gonna be in some pretty deep trouble. Okay, opponent kept 7. We'll start Ghost Quarter Aether Vial. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Polluted Delta. We untap. Aether Vial ticking up to 2, or ticking up to 1. Draw a Sword of Light and Shadow. Play Field of Ruin. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks to get a Steam Vents untapped, and peeks at her hand so they know what's up. Okay. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn. Cracks Scalding Tarn. They get a Steam Vents untapped going down to 14. And pass. Aether Vial we will tick up to 2. Unless they Petty Theft in response. Which is exactly what they're going to do. Okay. We draw Thalia. So play Field of Ruin. I'm going to activate Field of Ruin because I do want a Plains. Play Aether Vial. But it does not have a Spell Pierce. Okay, they play a Cascade Bluffs. Tick up Aether Vial. We draw Linvala. I think we just try and cast Rest in Peace. Okay, opponent remands. Pass the turn. They untap. We play a Mountain. We untap Aether Vial. Attempt to tick it up to 2. Opponent's going to gain control of Aether Vial. Okay, we draw Thalia. I kind of want to play Rest in Peace, but Leon and Arbiter, Crack Ghost Quarter is also tempting. I actually don't know how to proceed here. It's probably the Arbiter line. If my opponent has a Bolt, though, that's going to feel pretty bad. Which I assume they do, because they haven't cast one yet, and they kept 7. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, Archmage's Charm main deck is a pretty bad beating. Normally, like, for the longest time, counterspell decks or counterburn decks or whatever you want to call what my opponent is playing is at tempo. Didn't really have a way to interact with Aether Vial, and Aether Vial got a little bit worse when they got a Braid, because a Braid is good versus creatures and artifacts. We draw Stoneforge, so we're going to try and play a Stoneforge Mystic. Alright, yeah. I think we're done here. But, like, Archmage's Charm being able to take our Aether Vial and gain all of the value that we tried to put into building it, like, that's pretty brutal. Alright, round 2. We will be on the draw for round 2. Opponent is a Luris deck. I actually think this hand is probably good against my opponent's deck then. We will keep. Hey, what are you chewing on? Opponent mulligan to 4. Thoughtseize. Alright, they should probably take Vial. My opponent has 2 cards in hand. If they don't take Vial, they take Arbiter. Okay, they take Arbiter. We draw a Skyclave Cleric. So... play Sunbaked Canyon, play Aether Vial, which technically was incorrect if my opponent has a... what's it called? The Scourge of the Skyclaves, but... okay, we are going to Path Dark Confidant. Can't really let our opponent have that much extra draw power. They get a Swamp. They put Luris in their hand. Okay, we will Vial in Giver of Runes. Untap. Aether Vial trigger on the stack. We will take it up to 2. Oh man. Talk about some bad beats. Vial in Arbiter. Well, let's just take out all of our opponent's mana. Pass the turn. No attacks. We'll leave Giver back to protect Arbiter. Opponent goes to push Giver. Okay. No lands. We untap. Vial gonna stay on 2. Draw planes. Play planes. Crack Sunbaked Canyon and draw another planes. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Okay, hit her opponent down to 14. Opponent untaps. We're gonna push Arbiter. Nothing we can do about that. Vial in our Skyclave Cleric. Gain 2 life. Untap. I'm going to put Vial up to 3. We draw Sword of Light and Shadow, which is pretty sweet. Go to combat, hit our opponent for 1. They go to 13. Opponent plays a Verdant Catacombs and immediately cracks it. They get a Stomping Ground untapped into a Grim Flayer. We probably path this. My opponent did not have a second black source for Luris, which is kind of nice. I will not be taking up Aether Vial. Draw Sunbaked Canyon. Go ahead and throw out the sword. Go to combat, get in for 1, and if they don't have removal, they're going to be very sad. So their hand is Luris, 2 unknowns. Okay, opponent plays Wrenn and 6. Picks up a land. Plays Blackcleave Cliffs tapped. We untap. Aether Vial staying on 3. We draw another Aether Vial. Equip the Cleric. I'm going to play Aether Vial. Go to combat, and we're going to attack our opponent. I'm not going to attack Wrenn and 6. And I think I'm going to pick up an Arbiter. Yeah, we'll pick up Arbiter. Okay, pass to our opponent. They pick up an Overgrown Tomb. They play a Luris, but they have nothing they can play out of the grave with Luris. They play an Overgrown Tomb tapped. We untap. Okay, Vial on 3 stays on 3. Vial on 0 ticks up to 1. We draw a Giver. Sack Sunbaked Canyon, draw a card. It's a Flicker Wisp. Go to combat. Attack our opponent for 3. They can't block. So pick up Giver of Runes. Now, because we have 2 givers, we're going to cast one with mana, and we're going to pass the turn. Alright, opponent attacks. So let's Vial in a Flicker Wisp to reset that attack. Nice. But I didn't even want to see what it was. Versus my opponent's deck, I kind of want Rest in Peace. They have Grimflayer, they're playing Luris, and they're playing Wrenn and 6, all of which interact with the grave. And considering that they're probably like Luris Jund, I'm thinking they've got Goyf. Because if they're trying to build Delirium, Goyf is good with Delirium. Whether we want Winds of Abandon or Aven Mind Sensor, I'm not sure. Linvala, most of their creatures don't have activated abilities. Skyclave Cleric is not as good. We might want Aven Mind Sensor, we'll see. I feel like Mind Sensor is mainly for like the Titan deck and stuff, though. And I mean, maybe against my opponent's deck, because they have so many fetches, but... Alright, we will keep this hand. It's a little awkward, but... Opponent starts Shock, Vexing Devil, we will take 4. I like the Vexing Devil Luris interaction. We draw an Aether Vial, so play Ghost Quarter, play Aether Vial, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Verdant Catacombs, shocks for an Overgrown Tomb, and plays Tarmogoyf. Aether Vial, tick it up to 1. We draw Plains, play Sunbaked Canyon, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Bloodstained Mire. Go to combat. Get in for 2. No blocks. Take 2. Down to 14. On their end step, we'll put a Giver of Runes into play. Okay. Untap. Aether Vial up to 2. We draw a Giver. Play Field. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent bolts Giver. We're gonna Vial in. Oh, they're really scared of that Arbiter. And they shock it in and everything. Vial in Arbiter. Give Arbiter Pro Black. See if that makes them do anything. Or if they try and kill Arbiter in response. They shouldn't, but they might. Okay, they're gonna bolt Arbiter in response. So activate Field on Overgrown Tomb. Take out a Black Source. Okay. Opponent bolts Arbiter. Giver of Runes fizzles. Giver of Runes down. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent now has a 3/4 Tarmogoyf. They attack us for 3. We take 3, go to 10. Play a Black Cleave Cliffs, and they put Luris in hand. Aether Vial, I will tick up to 3. We draw Stoneforge Mystic. Play a Plains. Play Giver. Maybe I should have kept this on 2. I just feel like some of our 3 mana spells are like better. Alright. Stoneforge Mystic, gonna get us Sword of Feast and Famine. Pass the turn. Okay. Opponent untaps. They go to combat, no blocks. We will leave Aether Vial on 3. We draw another Ghost Quarter. Play the Ghost Quarter because it's a painless land here. Okay. Opponent's going to attack us for 4, which means we can't cast Batterskull unless we top deck a painless land. Opponent thought seizes Batter Skull away from us. They play Luris, and they get to replay Vexing Devil. I don't want to take 4 damage, mainly because I would die. We untap. Aether Vial gonna stay on 3. Draw Sunbaked Canyon. 1 second. Use Ghost Quarter for mana. Sack it to draw. Get a Thalia, which we can play, but... Moving on to game 3. I think we still just run it back. I mean, maybe, like, Winds of Abandon could be good here, but, like, we're never gonna overload it. Alright, we'll keep this. Us being on the play with multiple Arbiters and a Ghost Quarter probably is good enough. Start Ghost Quarter Vial. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Blackcleave Cliffs into a Vexing Devil. We will take the damage. Okay. Untap. Take up Aether Vial. We draw Batter Skull. I'm going to play out 1 Arbiter, because if my opponent's second land is a fetch land and they don't have removal, this could punish them. I mean, odds are they'll have a Fatal Push or a Lightning Bolt if they need to fetch, but you never know. That might take up their turn rather than, like, thought seizing us or something. Okay, they do Bolt. Okay, Aether Vial, gonna tick up to 2. We draw an Arbiter. Play Arbiter. The triple Arbiter hand. Opponent will need to crack that fetch land now, I think. Oh, it is Arbiter Central. Arbitertron! Oh man, that sucks. You know what the best part is? I was gonna say, unless they have double removal, this Ghost Quarter we've got here is a Strip Mine. They had double push. Alright, Vial up to 3. We draw Stoneforge. Well, opponent's got to run out of removal sooner or later. So play Stoneforge. Let's go and get Feast and Famine. Pass the turn. Okay. Opponent has a Verdant Catacombs. They play Scourge of the Skyclaves. Alright. Well, on our opponent's end step, we'll put Skyclave Apparition into play. Take out Scourge of the Skyclaves. That seems flavorful. Okay. Aether Vial, gonna stay on 3. We draw Giver of Runes. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Okay. Opponent takes 2, goes to 15. I think we're good to just leave up Stoneforge Mystic here, because I really doubt my opponent is playing Sudden Death, which would be the only thing that would really suck. Or I guess maybe a Krosan Grip would also do it, but... Well, no, Sudden Death, because they'd have to kill Stoneforge Mystic. Our opponent could have, like, Abrupt Decay or something, and that would be bad, but... Man, Arbiter gets better the more Arbiters you have. Alright, activate Mystic. Put Batter Skull onto the battlefield. I'm trying to think of what they could have. They could have, like, Kolaghan's Command, killing Batter Skull and Stoneforge, or Skyclave Apparition, which would be pretty bad, but... Okay, we untap. Aether Vial stays on 3. We draw Giver of Runes. Go to combat. Attack for 6. Okay, opponent is going to Assassin's Trophy Batter Skull. Get a Plains. Germ Token dies. Opponent only takes 2. And now we're going to play Giver of Runes, and I'm going to restart the client. Alright, and we're back. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent does nothing. Put Sword into play. We untap. Aether Vial staying on 3. We draw Plains. Play Plains. Suit up Apparition. Okay. Go to combat. Attack for 4. They are going to Abrade the Sword. Well, we can't do anything about that. So opponent is going to take 2 and go to 10. Play a second Giver of Runes. Pass the turn, leave up Path. Opponent plays a Vexing Devil, we'll take the damage. And plays a Tarmogoyf. Okay. Let's see what we draw. Aether Vial gonna stay on 3. We draw Flicker Wisp. Path Tarmogoyf. Okay. Opponent gets a Forest, go to combat. I only have 1 card in hand. But we're going to leave back both givers to play around like double removal spell or something like that. Alright, we got there. Woo! First match I've won with Death and Taxes. I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty, round 3, here we go. Double Vial, no creature. I think I'm gonna mulligan. I don't know what kind of hands I should be keeping. Maybe I should have kept the first hand. I don't know. Those more experienced with Death and Taxes, just yell at me in the comments. Yeah, we'll go to 5. God, we're going to 4. Alright, we'll keep. Put back Ghost Quarter, Sword, Apparition. Start Planesgiver. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Godless Shrine. Thoughtseize. Oh. Well, there goes Stoneforge. We draw Ghost Quarter, play Field. And, yeah, I guess we attack for 1. The old mulligan to 4 and get Thoughtseized. Yeah, Thoughtseize punishes mulligans pretty hard. To be fair, several of the hands where we had like 2 action spells and all lands would have done nothing, because they would have just taken it all from us. Yep. Hand hate, push. And we are out of action. Ooh, we draw Arbiter. Play Arbiter. We're going to Ghost Quarter Godless Shrine. And then just maybe. Opponent seems to be a little upset that this is what's happening. Immediately Ghost Quarter Godless Shrine. Pass the turn. If they have another Isolated Chapel, it'll enter tapped. Alright. Land, please. Second Arbiter. Go to combat. The reason we're not playing Arbiter number 2 pre-combat is because if my opponent paths me, I really want that land. Hit them for 2. They go to 13. Play Arbiter number 2. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Ghost Quarter. Oh no. No, please, opponent. Don't. Don't Ghost Quarter me, bro. I'm supposed to be doing that to you. Alright, opponent plays a Lingering Souls. We untap. We draw Ghost Quarter. Play Ghost Quarter. We'll go ahead and field Ghost Quarter. I don't think we attack. I'm going to pass. Opponent flashes back Lingering Souls. That makes sense. They attack us for 2. Our best top deck would be like a Stoneforge. No, actually, Stoneforge wouldn't do anything. Play a Plains. Nuke Shambling Vent. The problem is, I think we die to tokens. At this point, I'm fine attacking. If they double block 1, that's okay, because they still can't play fetches. This would also allow us to pay for our own Arbiter, if we needed to, for like a path from our opponent or something. It dramatically slows my opponent's clock, too. Okay, opponent attacks for 2. Take 2, go to 16. We untap and draw Linvala. Attack for 2. Opponent takes 2, goes to 9. They untap and shock Godless Shrine. And play a Heart of Kirin, which is a crew 3. We untap. Draw Sword of Light and Shadow, which, if we get another land, would be awesome. No attacks. Kind of praying for no removal, but they might have it here. Thoughtseize. Oh. Well, they're going to take Sword. Yep. They go down to 5. We untap. We draw Vial. Vial is good. It means we can actually potentially play our creatures eventually. Okay, we're still at an awkward stalemate. Opponent does know what our hand is. We untap. Aether Vial ticking up. We draw Ghost Quarter. Play Ghost Quarter. Make them think twice about ever casting removal. Or anything for that matter. Opponent still no attacks. We untap. Aether Vial. Tick it up to 2. Ooh. Alright. Man, what is with these 3 Leonin Arbiter hands, and why are they so damn good? Alright, at the end step. Violin Arbiter. Untap. Aether Vial. Tick it up to 3. Skyclave Apparition is good. Pass the turn. So even if my... Actually, we just Ghost Quarter now, right? Because even if my opponent had removal, they still would not be able to pay for both Leonin Arbiters. Or either one, I mean. So, hit Godless Shrine. I'm not sure why I waited. Just couldn't brain, I guess. I should have attacked there, but... Okay, so my opponent is playing Lingering Souls, Black, White. It kind of looked like Smallpox. I don't think Mind Sensor is going to be good against them. They're definitely playing token Planeswalkers like Sorin if they're going to be running Heart of Kirin. I guess that means we bring in Revoker over, like, Skyclave Cleric. Maybe I want Rest in Peace here. I'm not totally decided on that. Path lined up with Lingering Souls really sucks, but... Hey, we beat our opponent on a severely low mulligan with the most god top decks I've ever seen. Oh, man, sorry if you heard that. That was my elbow. I don't think we can keep a hand with 3 Thalias and 1 colorless land. This hand, on the other hand, actually seems pretty good. I'm gonna put back Flicker Wisp. Yeah, I'm gonna put back Flicker Wisp. When it starts Godless Shrine, untapped. Inquisition. They can take whatever they want. They'll probably take Vial. If not, they'll take Stoneforge. They take Vial. We untap, we draw a field, play Giver. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Isolated Chapel. Inquisition. Take Stoneforge, because that's our turn to play. We draw Thalia, which seems great, honestly. Play Thalia. Pass the turn. Protector with Giver. Opponent plays a Ghost Quarter into a Stony Silence. So no more Aether Vial, at least until we Apparition that. We draw a second Thalia. Play Field. Kind of want a field just to make sure that we have another white source. I'm going to wait to do that until my opponent's end step, I think. Opponent 2 mana to Path, Giver. We'll give Thalia Pro Black, I guess. This also means we don't have to activate Field. Get a Plains. Looks like they got another Path. We untap and draw Field number 3. We'll play Field number 3, go to combat, attack for 2, and I think I am going to Skyclave Apparition. It might give them a better path target, but I think my opponent still has to deal with Thalia, and we already have a backup Thalia, so... On the plus side, this should greatly decrease our chance of drawing lands. We untap and draw Ghost Quarter, go to combat, attack for 2. If I knew how many basics my opponent was running, it might be worth just Ghost Quartering them a bunch of times, but like if we draw Arbiter, our opponent is just like Armageddoned. Second Ghost Quarter for the opponent. They are up to 4 mana now, so they could play like a Lingering Souls, I suppose. Gideon of the Trials. Okay, they can uptick to Fog Thalia. Makes sense to me. Come on, Arbiter. One time. Oh. Alright, go to combat. Attack Gideon. I think because we have to here. Gideon goes down to 2. Pass the turn. We'll hold on to this Plains. Might cause our opponent to do the old hand check. Opponent plays a Godless Shrine tapped. 2 mana. Paths Thalia. Get a Plains. Fogs our remaining creature. Play Ghost Quarter. Pass the turn. Like, opponent Thought Seizes, we have nothing, so they lose 2 life. Stoneforge Mystic is an amazing top deck. Arbiter is an amazing top deck. Opponent's just going to animate Gideon and attack? Alright. Take 4. We untap and draw Giver. Go to combat. Attack Gideon. Gideon down to 1. Play Giver. Play Plains, because our opponent knows about it. Pass the turn. Opponent fogs a Skyclave Apparition. Casts Lingering Souls. Probably flashes it back. Yep. Okay. We untap. Draw Arbiter. Oh man. Let's go to town! Alright. Activate Field on Quarter. Activate Field on Quarter. Hit Isolated Chapel. I guess I should have hit both Godless Shrines. Nice. Pass the turn. So now most of my opponent's top decks are going to be pretty bad. And ours should be very good. Not to mention, if they don't draw and play a land, we can just Field of Ruin their last land. They're going to Fog Skyclave Apparition. I'm fine with that, actually. I would rather protect Arbiter. Opponent attacks us for 3. Okay. We untap. Draw Revoker. So, Field Godless Shrine. Go to combat. Attack our opponent for 2. Opponent does not chump. They go to 8. Now we play Revoker and name Gideon of the Trials. Oh, man. Very happy we brought in Revoker. Oh, this feels so dirty. Opponent got a Westvale Abbey, so colorless land. Opponent attacks us for 4, we go to 9. We untap, draw planes, go to combat. Attack our opponent, attack our opponent, attack our opponent. And next turn, if my opponent only has colorless mana, we can just give a creature protection from white and attack them. Man, I can't believe we stripped mined our opponent 5 times. 4 times in one turn. Oh, man. 5 strip mines. Oh, that's nasty. That's disgusting. Alright, round 4, here we go. Alright. Play first. I think this hand's alright, we'll keep. Start planes, pass the turn. Opponent starts Breeding Pool, untapped. Into an Amulet. Okay. Play Ghost Quarter. Play Giver of Runes. We're taking a slight detour on the optimum line here, because if my opponent plays a bounce land, we are Ghost Quartering it before it untaps. So they get a land, and then they have to return a land they control to their hand, leaving them with 1 mana at the end of turn 2. The problem is, my opponent probably has another bounce land. Path could be useful. Play Stoneforge Mystic. We're gonna get probably Fire and Ice here. Now let's get Fire and Ice. Pass the turn, leave Giver of Runes back to protect Stoneforge. Okay, opponent plays a Stomping Ground tapped and passes. We untap, we draw Skyclave Apparition. Play Field. We could play Apparition and take out Amulet. I actually kind of like that. Well, no. I actually think Apparition is a little bit better taking out something like Dryad. So pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays the Forest we know about. Plays Azusa. Okay, opponent is going to play a Rot Farm. Now let's go ahead and field the Rot Farm. Get a Plains. Opponent gets a Forest. They're going to float green mana. I could Path Azusa. I don't think that's good, though. I think it would be way better off being a, like, we would be better off pathing Titan or something like that. Okay. Really hoping we top deck a land here. And top deck Stoneforge. Play Skyclave Apparition. This is tough. I think we take out Amulet because if they do have Titan, they can ramp into Titan pretty much either way. I think we take out Amulet because that prevents Titan from attacking in the same turn. So now we pass. Would still really like to draw land next turn. Another Amulet. That does not bode well for us. They play a Dryad. Opponent gets a Plains, untaps it. Another Skyclave Apparition. If we had 1 more mana, like, this would be a no-brainer. We would just Skyclave Apparition, take out Amulet, and then... I still think the correct choice is to take out Amulet, but if we take out Dryad, it's not like they can just, play Titan and then attack and kill us or something. If we don't take out Dryad, we just lose our whole board to Valakut. So I think we hit Dryad. That might actually be wrong. I want to try and save path for Titan, but we'll see. Hit our opponent for 2, take him to 16. This would also be a lot easier if we had Vials this game. Okay, opponent plays Field of the Dead. They now have 6 mana. Yeah, maybe we were supposed to hit Amulet there because they don't have a lot of untapped lands. That might have been a play mistake. That comes from me not knowing this matchup at all. In fact, I know my opponent's deck better than I know this one. Oh yeah, we're like toast, aren't we? Yeah, they get Primetime Haste. So opponent picked up their Vesuva, presumably to make another Field of the Dead. We're going to block and give pro green to mitigate 2 damage here. 3 mana. They play another Dryad. Okay, well, there goes our whole board. We can't come back from that. Alright. Revoker doesn't actually do anything. Like, we could name Hanweir Battlements, but that's about it. Maybe we want Winds of Abandon here? It's probably better than Skyclave Cleric. Path is going to be a very important effect, and my opponent doesn't have all that many creatures, but or all that many basics, but it's important to hit a lot of their creatures with that effect. I think I'm going to bring in the Aven Mind Sensors, and I'm going to drop Linvala, a Giver of Runes, actually 2 Giver of Runes. I'm just going to bring in the 1 Winds of Abandon. We'll try it like this. I have no idea if this sideboard is correct. We'll play first. This is just what my gut instinct tells me I should probably do. Alright, well we have Ghost Quarters to interrupt their ridiculous, like, turn 2 or opener. Okay. Start Ghost Quarter. Actually, I probably should have started Plains, but... I'm going to start Stomping Ground, probably Soccer Tribe Scout. Yep. We draw Aven Mind Sensor, play a Plains, pass the turn. Okay. When it plays a tap land. Okay, evidently that's all they're doing. We untap, draw Stoneforge, play Field of Ruin, and I think we're going to go with the Flash Aven Mind Sensor plan. Okay, opponent plays a Radiant Fountain. They play Dryad, sure. No extra land drops yet. That makes me feel really suspicious. They're probably holding several bounce lands. That means they're protecting their regular lands from Ghost Quarter if they've got that, because they can instant speed a bounce land into bounce any land we target. Something we have to be aware of. We draw Plains, which is good. Plains will let us Skyclave Apparition and take out their Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Sakura Tribe Scout is important to remove, but I think Dryad represents a higher threat because Dryad makes Valakut so powerful. Like, Prismatic Omen used to be run in, like, red-green Valakut on occasion, or, like, as a one-of. And some of the hands that you could get, like, were just ridiculous, but Dryad being an Exploration and a Prismatic Omen and a 2/4 body, all put together, makes it a very powerful card. Especially with all the land shenanigans that are going on right now. So opponent going to put in Golgari Rot Farm. I am going to Ghost Quarter the Rot Farm. They only get to search the top 4 cards of their deck for a basic, and they don't run that many basics, so it's not super likely they find one. Now they have to bounce a land. They bounce Radiant Fountain. When it plays a Radiant Fountain, goes back up to 20. We untap. Draw Giver of Runes. Go to combat. Attack for 4. When it goes down to 16. I'm wondering if we just hold back on Field of Ruin for effectively the same thing. What are our other options? We could play Stoneforge Giver. I don't really want to play out Sword here. Skyclave Apparition could take care of Sakura Tribe Scout, which would prevent a lot of the shenanigans. Then they have to start playing fair. Field of Ruin might be our technical best play, but I'm gonna go the Skyclave Apparition route. It's Sakura Tribe Scout. Okay. But it puts in a Simic Growth Chamber, picking up Radiant Fountain. Get rid of Sakura Tribe Scout. Watch me get absolutely obliterated here by something I completely didn't anticipate. They play Radiant Fountain. Engineered Explosives on 3. Oh, man. Yep, I would call that getting obliterated. We untap. Get a Sword of Feast and Famine. I could force my opponent to bounce a land with this Flicker Wisp. I feel like if I don't interact with my opponent's mana this turn, they're just going to play Titan and we're going to lose. Yeah, I should have stayed back on the Field of Ruin plan. And I think I have to play Giver and Stoneforge. I just have to pray that my opponent doesn't have it, which, of course, they will, because they kept a hand of 7 that was probably really good. Get Fire and Ice, because we're not probably playing Batterskull this game. When it plays an Amulet of Vigor, second Amulet. Alright. If they have a bounce land into anything, it's game over. Alright, we untap. We draw Ghost Quarter. Play Ghost Quarter. Pass the turn. Now we might have a chance. I mean, if I Ghost Quarter that, I give them more mana. So, maybe I had to, like, field Simic Growth Chamber on our turn. Alright. Here comes Titan. When they tap their, Stomping Ground correctly. Ugh, alright. At least if they go the Hanweir Battlements plan, we can stop it from attacking this turn. Because we can field Battlements. Of course, what they should do is they should get Battlements and Vesuva. Because they already have untapped red mana. That would force us to field and Ghost Quarter. Which would mean we can't, okay. Field Hanweir Battlements. The Plains. Do they have a second Titan? And picked up the Simic bounce land. Oh my god. How do you beat this? Trick question, you don't. I mean, if we'd had Leon and Arbiter, maybe we could have done something. Aven Mind Sensor took them off for a long time. It's turn 7, and I think we were on the play, so after a number of draws, us being stuck on only 3 lands, yeah, I'm not playing this out. We're just unbelievably dead. Alright, moving on to round 5. Okay, round 5, we're on the play. Maybe. Oh, we're against mono red. Okay. We're not going to have a good time. Not with this hand. We need to top deck nothing but action until the end of time. Which, I mean, I guess we have Sunbaked Canyon to recycle into a draw, but the average hand for our opponent's deck is pretty quick. Best top deck next turn would be Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, it is not mono red. It is the green red. Okay, well, Stoneforge Mystic, not technically our best top deck, but I think we play Field and Leon and Arbiter. If they have another fetch land, they have to use up all of their mana. Plus, Field is going to make them fetch for a basic. They did pay for Arbiter. So, one thing that you have to do when you play Leon, or when you're playing against Leon and Arbiter, they shame scoop. You have to click on Arbiter to activate its ability in Moto. It's not a, oh, would you like to pay 2 to search for Leon and Arbiter? It's, no, you have to preemptively pay it. Okay, so red, green, Ponza, odd mana only. I think that means Aven Mind Sensors come in. Skyclave Clerics go out. Linvala probably can go. And I'm going to go down a Giver. We may want Revokers, we may want Forge Tenders, but we're going to have to see what's going on. That's just the naive sideboard in my mind. Alright, well this hand is, it's not terrible. We'll keep. Man, the lag is so bad right now. Play a Plains. 1 second. Okay. Pass the turn. Let's hope for no pillage. When it plays a Windswept Teeth and cracks it. Second Stomping Ground. Tapped. You play an Oath of Nissa. Revealing Emrakul. They attack for 1. So probably Nahiri is in this deck. Play Field of Ruin. Play Thalia. Try and slow our opponent down. They play Stomping Ground tapped. And pass the turn. We untap. Draw Aether Vial. Play a Plains. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Get our opponent down to 14. Play Stoneforge. Let's go and get Sword of Feast and Famine. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Forest. It's a Glorybringer. That would be bad. 6 mana Inferno Titan through the Breach. Through the Breach Emrakul. We lose our whole board. Play a Plains, play an Aether Vial. Pass the turn. Okay. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills, cracks Wooded Foothills, gets a Mountain. 3 mana, plays Seasoned Pyromancer, discards the last card in their hand, which is a Forest, and draws 2 cards. 3 mana, put Obosh in their hand. We untap, take up Aether Vial to 1. Draw Aven Mind Sensor, play Plains. They play Obosh, doesn't matter which we block, we're gonna die. Alright. They got us. We did not respect the Through the Breach Emrakul. Yeah, I don't think we make any adjustments. I think we just run it back. Alright, we'll play first. I mean, the hand's not amazing, but it is a turn 2 Leonin Arbiter, which could mean our opponent not having the ability to crack a fetch land. Opponent starts Stomping Ground, Arbor Elf. Does this deck ever not have Stomping Ground, Arbor Elf? Okay. Play Plains, play Arbiter. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Stomping Ground untapped. 3 mana. For a Klothys. We untap. Draw Stoneforge Mystic. Play Sunbaked Canyon. And honestly, think I'm just going to play the Sword of Fire and Ice. Go to combat. Attack our opponent for 2. This way, we can either equip Leonin Arbiter, or if we top deck a land, we can play Stoneforge Mystic and equip Stoneforge Mystic. Opponent plays a Forest. They currently have access to 4 mana. Oath of Nissa. They should be able to reveal basically their whole deck, so they're going to get something here. They reveal a Forest. 3 mana, they put Obosh in their hand. We untap. Draw Plains. Play a Plains. Suit up Arbiter. Play Stoneforge Mystic. Can't search. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Hit our opponent down to 10. Kill Arbor Elf. Draw Skyclave Apparition, which can deal with Klothys. Okay, opponent drains us for 2. They play their Forest. They play an Arbor Elf. We untap. We draw Sunbaked Canyon. Go to combat. Attack our opponent for 4. If they chump with the elf, that's fine. They do. Okay? Play Sunbaked Canyon. Play Skyclave Apparition. Exile Klothys. Pass the turn. Opponent plays another Arbor Elf. We're going to put Sword of Light and Shadow into play. We untap. Draw Field of Ruin. Play Field. Equip Arbiter. Go to combat. Attack for 6. Opponent chumps. I am really suspicious that they have Through the Breach Emrakul. So we're going to play a Flicker Wisp to basically force them to have removal in addition to that. We have enough permanents that we should be able to keep the important ones. Okay, 3 mana. Opponent plays Seasoned Pyromancer. Opponent discards discards Luca and Through the Breach. Plays a second Oath of Nissa. Okay. They get a Forest. So they guarantee to have a land next turn. We untap. We draw Skyclave Apparition. Go to combat. Attack. Attack. Hit our opponent for 9. Awesome. Well, 3-2 with my first League of Death and Taxes ever is not bad. Let's go ahead and open up our treasure chest and see what we get. 5 play points, a Dovin Grand Arbiter, who I don't believe is worth anything, and Bolus's Citadel. 1 second. He is not worth anything. All right, let's do a little bit of a wrap up here. So I understand why Linvala's in this deck. Turning off activated abilities of creatures that you can use to gain repeated value is very powerful. She seems to come down a little bit late in this deck, and being the only 4-drop, we had to put Aether Vial on 4, and it was a little awkward. I think it might be better if, in my opinion, I would drop the Skyclave Clerics. They're probably really useful versus Burn, but I would drop the Skyclave Clerics, and I would drop Linvala. And I'm not sure what I would replace them with. Let me look at an actual tax, see if there's any other recent taxes lists. If I was going to go green-white, I think it would be beneficial because we'd have access to like Night of Autumn, Tireless Tracker, or Gaddock Teague in the sideboard. I think I would drop those 3 cards I mentioned and maybe run Archon, Archon of Emeria or maybe a Maul of the Skyclaves. I feel like that might be a little bit better than what we're doing here. If I was worried about mono red, in mono white, I would just play Core Firewalker on the side. Like, I'd probably drop a Forge Tender and a Winds of Abandon and run at least 2 Firewalker. But I don't, like I said, I'm not an expert on taxes, and it's a deck that I want to learn a little bit more than I have. But I mean, this list helped me understand a little bit about what it wants to do. 5 strip mines in 2 turns was so sweet. I understand why people play taxes now. I always kind of just like thought this was a sort of a meme deck in Modern, because like it's a deck that existed in Legacy for a long time, and when people first started trying to play it in Modern, it wasn't a good deck when they first started. And over time, it has actually evolved into something that is pretty decent as a meta call, at least tier 2. And it's like obviously the top power level hands that it has, just like wastelanding and strip mining your opponent, is really powerful. So all in all, I'm going to play more of this. I don't know when, and I don't know what changes I'm going to make exactly yet. I'm probably going to have to do some off-screen testing, but we'll see what happens. If you guys want to see more Death and Taxes, please let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please leave a like and drop a comment. I'll probably respond. Subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. It'd mean a lot to me if you did. It costs you nothing to do so, and it really supports the channel more than you could know. Also, I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will be streaming next week, but probably not the week after, and then not until late January, probably. I might be able to stream, but it depends on how good my parents' internet is. I'll be taking my setup, and I'll still be making daily content. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough to actually stream with any real quality. So, yeah. I think that's everything I have to say. You're all wonderful human beings, and I appreciate your support and your views. Bye! Also, thanks to Bone Daddy for donating the Skyclave Apparition so I could play this deck.